Welcome to Sing Scarlet. It is Shelby with Tyler, and we have all the things to talk about this week, including national championships on the line on Friday for track. We'll give you a little bit of info on that, but that's coming up. We have softball. They won this series with number 15 or number 13 at the time, now number 15, Oklahoma State, the preseason favorites to win the Big 12. We won the series this weekend in Lubbock. That was such a massive get there. We'll talk all about that. We got highlights, all the things, a little bit of a preview of their big series this weekend down in Waco with Baylor. Be there, Central Texas Tech fans. Go see your team. You should do it. Good team, fun to watch. I got to watch them in person a couple times. Really good time out at the Rock. Basketball, the Lady Raiders, man, they fought. Valiant effort. Felt like we finally kind of start to see what this team could have been. Dead legs, some really poor officiating, and just some untimely different things that went wrong in that Oklahoma State game, but they lose by 3 to end their season to Oklahoma State. We'll talk a little bit about that and kind of be a little bit of what's ahead for that program. And then men's basketball tomorrow night starts their own journey at the Big 12 tournament. In the semifinals, I think they got a whole break because they had all the buys, so they don't have to play until tomorrow night. I think they will play either Baylor or is it Oklahoma?
K-State.
K-State, there we go.
Yes.
Runs all together. Baylor or K-State. And then tennis is still doing the damn thing. The women's tennis team is undefeated in the Big 12, 4-0, and some other things going on in Texas Tech sports. We'll talk all about it with Tyler. How's it going? It's been a little bit of a slow week to start the week. I kind of feel like I could breathe a little bit. Then it's going to get real busy this weekend, though.
Yes, I'm very, very hype after last Friday's softball big wins, and then now, yeah, it's kind of mellowed out just a little bit, seeing things. But I think that the biggest thing for this weekend, in particular, is our track team. As you said, they're heading to Virginia Beach. I think they've already arrived, from what I saw on social media, and then they're going to be there Friday and Saturday. The men are coming in ranked number 6. The women are ranked number 8. Many, many people have qualified, so we have a really good chance to maybe take home some hardware, ring the victory bells on Saturday. We'll see. So y'all keep up to date on that. I believe it'll be on ESPN Plus,
For sure.
the live
Might
part.
even be on actual ESPN on the championship Saturday last year, at least, was on one of the real ESPN channels.
Yes.
Just keep your eye out. It'll be available. If I have a chance to watch it, I'm going to watch it. Last year was so much fun watching them win the national championship. So Saturday for sure, I'm going to have my eyes on that if we're
For sure.
in the race. And so the men's team is going for back-to-back national championships because they won it last year. And the women's team, this would be their first one ever. Yeah, we'll see. The rankings are what they are going in there. They're obviously in the hunt. Just a matter of how they perform. And I think they won the Big 12 last time out. We talked about it last week, and I don't think anyone did anything spectacular in that out of a couple of people. So if they all do something spectacular in this, let's go win a couple of natties. If we sweep the national championships, Tyler, what are we going to do?
Name a street, parade.
I mean, Kitley got to get a street, a speedway, a boulevard, a highway. We're having a parade, all the things. That would be insane. I can even contemplate in my brain. Anyway, let's go do that. We'll be hyping it up along the way for sure. So that's going on. Watch it on ESPN Plus or maybe on ESPN, depending on the day. But it's a lot of fun to watch. There's a lot going on. It's constant content coming through when you watch track. So do that. And then we'll slide into another team that has championship aspirations. They're working on it, and they started off on a really good note, as I said in the opening, with beating the preseason favorites, winning the series 2-1, winning the first 2 games, dropping the last one to Oklahoma State at home. Just a massive, massive start to their Big 12 season. I think we're all kind of going to that thinking that we had a really good team on our hands because of what they had been doing in recent weeks. But I think that really showed kind of what they're capable of on both ends. We saw both ends of the spectrum there where there's still some things to work on, but Oklahoma State's a really good team. They were not going to lay down and die, and you knew they were going to bounce back in that Sunday game and give a fight. So what were your thoughts over that? We have some highlights, and kind of we'll give some shout outs to different players that stood out in each of the games.
Yeah, like I said last week, after Idaho State, I really think that was the punch in the mouth because I've been really impressed with this team's performance. And they came out Friday night, which, by the way, a doubleheader and one night after a day of classes and practice all day, like that has to be one of the toughest things to do. And they made it look so freaking easy. And I think that Game 1 was amazing. We run rolled Oklahoma. Game 2, what's most impressive is that Chloe was able to hold them down, no runs at all. And also, Oklahoma State had their ace pitcher, Malin, out there in the circle. And we still were able to get 2 runs off of them. And then Nyjah was able to close it out. Crowd went crazy, all the things. And then also, shout out to the crowd. We beat the attendance record, I think 2,221. That was such a huge thing. We made the movement, we pushed for it. Y'all came out and did it, and we have so many more opportunities to break it. But I think those were my overall thoughts on the weekend. But that attendance record and also sweeping or winning that first day was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so cool. It just felt so good, to see him do that. I was able to catch the first game out there in person again. Great atmosphere to see him break the attendance record. There's still a lot of seats in the outfield, but it was so cool to see people in the outfield. It was pretty full, but we can get to 3,000 at least. I don't know what the capacity is. Maybe Tyler can look that up. He might know. Ask your people what the capacity is for next show, so we know what the max is we can fit in there, if they even know what the new capacity is. But yeah, so that was good. Good job, Red Raider Nation. You have a few weeks off here before they're home again. So it's good if you get out there and watch them. They're not back until April 4th when they host Utah. The next few weeks, they're on the road at Baylor. And then they actually have a non-con series with a top 25 South Carolina over in SEC country as well. So if you didn't get them this past weekend, you got to wait a little bit, but go ahead and buy your tickets because it was a good time. But yeah, I mean, to see the first inning go the way it did, I think that was really cool to see us just kind of give Oklahoma State a taste of their own medicine. That's how Oklahoma State has been playing this year, is forcing teams to play defense and kind of small balling it, getting hits, pestering, forcing you into errors, forcing you to make the right decisions, and then making the big hit when you need to. And we got like 4 runs in that first inning, right? And then if you give Nyjah 4 runs, even against a team that good, like you knew that they'd probably find a way to scratch a run out, which they didn't even do that. But you feel like, oh, they'll probably get a run. But like, that's impressive to do that. But if you give her that kind of lead, you're going to be in good shape. And so you had some clutch performers there. I'm trying to remember back to like everybody that did stuff, but I know Bailey had a big game in that. She's the one that walked it off with a 2-run bomb at the end of that, which was hype. And we have a clip from Glasgow in here we'll play in a minute, but he just gets it, right? Like he's like in the dugout before we go up to hit at the end of that, I guess the bottom of the 5th, we have a chance to walk it off. And he doesn't just like tell his team to go out there and hit, do what you do. He's literally like, have a killer instinct and go walk them off right now. He tells his team to go walk them off. Like that's just a different mindset. That's just a different mindset that you can only have with the right type of players and the right type of team. And they said, okay, bet coach, we're going to go walk them off. And they did. They went and did it like against a top 25 team. So I think those are like my biggest takeaways. And then just a lot of, I feel like everybody kind of contributed overall, but I mean, I love that clip so much. And to walk off Oklahoma State when we have been walked off by Oklahoma, or like run roll walk off, when that's happened to us so many times in the past, it's just like another one of those, okay, things are different around here kind of vibes.
Yeah, for sure. And that first game, it looks like Alexa Langolier, she singled, then Reagan reached on fielder's choice, and then Bailey singled up the middle, and that's what really started the first inning. And then later on, Haley Toney singled, and then in the 5th inning, Reagan Jennings doubled, and then Bailey hit that homer, and that's what sealed the game. So Bailey Lindamoose, shout out to her as the freshman of the week, or actually not freshman of the week, player of the week.
Overall.
Oh, yes, overall. So that was huge for her to get that home run and to walk it off. Absolutely insane to do that against the Oklahoma State team that has made the Women's College World Series, I think 3-4 years in a row. So that's a huge win. Huge win. Yes, they are a program. And we really gave them a good punch in that first game.
Yeah, to shut them out, to run rule them. And then I think that carried over a little bit mentally into that next game because, again, that was their ace on the mound. And nothing. It was like you'd go out there and get 2 runs right away. And then she shut us down from there because she settled in. But we were so hot. They were a little rattled. They're like, oh, this is not how we expected. We're not used to coming to Lubbock and this happening to us here and all that. And we go out there and get 2 runs in that first inning. And that's all we needed. And shout out Chloe, because that's been a question, is like, can we win games when Nyjah's not on the mound? And yeah, Nyjah closed that game and the crowd went crazy and you loved that. But Chloe won that game, right? Like she won us that game, and I just thought that was not just good for that moment, but massive for as we move forward in the Baylor series and every series from here on out to have our second in line have that type of performance against a really good hitting team in Oklahoma State. So shout out Chloe in that game. I believe it was it Allred that had the hit to drive in the runs in the first inning, I believe.
Yes, Lauren Allred doubled, and then Langoliers ended up singling to let Allred come in.
Both of those are continuing to do work. Allred's hitting 377 now. Alexa's up to 328 now. Just doing stuff, and then Allred's playing a little bit banged up, and she's still doing it out there and getting hits. Reagan Jennings, still our leading hitter at 409. She just gets hits. She has 3 doubles on the year now. You mentioned she drove in 2 really massive ones to start the first game. So yeah, I think our offense is more doing better than I think people think. Like I looked at a lot of the stats earlier today because I did that graphic y'all saw in stolen bases because we're the highest in stolen bases. So I did that. We're 14th or 13th, depending on where you look, in the nation in stolen bases with 58, which again, we've talked about it a lot, but let me reemphasize, we only had like 46 all of last year. So that's wild in my brain. And we're not, and the all-time record, I have it written down somewhere, it's like 90 something. 92. I'm not saying we're going to break it because Big 12 play is different from non-con, but if we stay on a similar pace, like it's very much possible that we break the stolen base record in Glasgow's first season. I don't think people saw that coming. Like everyone thought, oh, we're going to hit a lot of home runs, but we've just been a different team. We're hitting enough home runs. We're hitting big home runs in big moments, but it's been more of a speed team. But we're definitely hitting. Here's, let me pull up these stats for you. My computer's being a little bit wonky. So we're 24th in the nation in runs scored. Take it. Right. It's all very consistent. 24th in runs scored, 25th in hits, total hits as a team, 25th in doubles, 38th in triples, 26th in RBI, 23rd in hit by pitches. Stop hitting our batters. Like, I'm kidding. Anyway, we got some tough ones up there. And then 13th in stolen bases. Also, just some random notes. If y'all saw it floating around, Naja Kennedy is like 3rd in the country in wins above replacement, also known as WAR. Basically just means she's a stud. She's really good at what she does. Haley Toney, I did go through the stats, is the 27th ranked shortstop based on WAR in the country, which for a freshman is pretty impressive. She's at 1.36. And then other people, and I think Maya's at 1.25 out in center field. She's in the top 50 for her position. I think Holloman might be in the top 50 or at least top 100 outfielders as well, as far as wins above replacement and different things. It's really early. And then a random stat, I don't know how they track this, and I feel like it's probably really dependent on the scorekeeper. Maybe they're using TrackMan or something. But anyway, if it's accurate, it's really impressive. Vic Valdez is 7th in the country in runs saved via framing. And if you don't know what framing is, it's like how she can catch the ball and trick the umpire essentially into thinking it's a strike, or like if it's on the margins. Yeah. Is it a ball or is it a strike? Okay. She's getting those calls.
Vic. Okay, Vic.
With her defensive, how she's catching the ball. I know how they track that in like MLB. I was just surprised to see that was even an option of a stat. It's under Synergy Stats. I pay for them so I can see it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess maybe we have those. I know there's cameras. I've seen the Synergy cameras at the ballpark. So maybe it's Synergy doing, and I'm getting into technical things. Sorry, again, I worked in baseball. But I noticed the Synergy cameras at the ballpark when I was there. I was like, oh, that's that. So maybe it's that. It's just automatically doing it. But anyway, shout out Vic Valdez because we brought her here to be a defensive catcher. And we're only a week into the Big 12. And so we'll see if that holds. But 7th in the country in runs saved via framing. As in she's gotten some strikes for Naja and anybody she's pitching for. Naja doesn't need a lot of help, but I'm sure she'll take it.
For sure. Huge for Vic. And I think that overall in this series, I think it was Lubbock Avalanche Journal might have been another source, but they did release the article talking about how in these first 2 games, Glasgow was like having to tell Naja because, as we all know, she has that soft tissue injury. And they're telling her like, hey, like, I know this is hard because you're Naja freaking Kennedy, but try not to necessarily go for like the strikeouts. Like, let's rely on the defense in this so that you're not putting so much to lower your pitch count, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the defense showed up huge in those first two games. Like, we had Oklahoma State was making so many errors in that as well, but like we had very limited errors in these two games, and I think that that's what made it such a huge thing because then Nyjah can still do her Nyjah things, throwing nasty changeups. We finally have that
Her off speed was unfair.
Yes. We now have the pitch speedometer out there in the outfield. I was watching. I was like,
oh wait, do they really? I didn't. Where's that at?
Yes,
I didn't even notice it.
you can. It's like right next to the first set of outfield seats, and it's like yellow. You can barely see it, but we all
I was
saw
like
it. It was like
on the home, right behind the dugout, and everyone's like, "Man, I really wish I could see how much hard she's throwing." Like everybody's talking about it. Not a single one of us noticed it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's crazy. She'll be throwing like two, like with the net at like 70, 72, and then boom, just throws like 54. And it was so just amazing to see. But again, when you have to adapt to that, I think that's just a huge thing to see that, hey, like Nyjah is still Nyjah Kennedy, even when she's not doing her usual getting 10 strikeouts a game or whatever. So I think that's a huge thing to show about our resiliency and battling adversity over here for this team. And that's how champions are built right there is how you adapt.
Yeah, for sure. I was trying to pull it up. Let's see. I don't think she threw very many pitches in that game one that she pitched 4 innings. Yeah, she pitched, 59. She had 59 total pitches in the 4 innings. And then Chloe came in and pitched the final inning. And then we walked them off. So, yeah, she was doing what she could. She's not 100%, but she's gotten it out. You got to respect that a lot. That's who she is. Again, a lot of people that weren't built like Nyjah Kennedy and had been given, had earned, I don't want to say given, earned the NIL deal that she has would be like, I don't need to chance this, but it's not like that she's pushing it like that. She's cleared to play. They're not doing anything reckless. Let's not get it crazy. But there are some athletes that be like, I'm just going to, I'm a little sore today, coach. I'm just going to sit over here. I got my millions of dollars. I'm just going to sit over here. But she's like, no, I understand who I am to this team. This is Big 12 play. If the trainers say they're being smart, again, if the trainers ever say, hey, she's not good to go, they're not going to play her. Like they're not. Right. But as long as she keeps getting cleared, they're going to put her out there and they're going to be smart about her. So she's a gutsy player for sure. Well, something you have to monitor. A lot of other people were dealing with different things as well. It's just, they're working really hard and those kind of injuries pop up. So hopefully as it warms up, we'll get past some of those soft tissue injuries. We get into spring weather and summer weather. Hopefully that'll help a little bit. But yeah, I think the defense to me, Nyjah or otherwise for everybody, is kind of the area where I think that is what's going to either elevate this team to like, hey, we can win a Big 12 championship and go on a run in the postseason, who knows what, is if our defense keeps getting better. Because on the Sunday game, I think our defense is what failed us a little bit because we allowed like 3 runs in the first inning that were unearned. And that just got that game off to a weird start. And you give a team like Oklahoma State 3 free runs or whatever it ended up being, maybe even more than that, unearned runs basically by the end of the game, like you're asking to get beat. So, but other parts of that series, our defense was stellar. So it's getting better, and there's just a few hiccups along the way. But they got to, and then we also have people playing out of position and still because of injuries. So some of that might help as people get healthier. But that is to me is I really do think that pitching and defense for sure. But I feel like our pitching's getting a little bit better behind Nyjah as well. If our defense keeps getting better, that's going to take this team to a. We are truly a top 15 team right now, but you want to be a top 5 team, it's that, to me, take my opinion for what it's worth in every sport, like I've said before, but to me, it's that defensive element where we can make the regular plays consistently. Make some spectacular ones, of course, but we gotta start making the regular plays all the time because these are really good teams. So that's it. But we're a really good team right now. We're top 15 for a good reason. Beat the preseason #1 team in the Big 12. And have a chance to really get off on a good foot at Baylor. Do you have a preview on Baylor or anything? We can actually show the highlights from these games, and then we'll talk about Baylor. Because you'll want to see these for sure, if I can get it. Here are just the game highlights, and then we'll show you the fun cinematic recap, because whoever, I think it's Tyler Grosner, I'm going to look up his name, that does that. Tyler something that does it for the team. He's a great videographer, but we'll show you that as well.
This is
It's Alexa Langoliers in the first inning, driving in our first run. That was hype. Haley Tony. Reagan. Just is that Reagan actually? I can't even tell. Put it in play. Make a choice. That's what we did that first inning. That's what we did all inning or game. God, Bailey. What a rocket.
Let's go.
Yeah, this wasn't their ace, but she's been really good this year. Coots.
She has.
I think he said Coots, so I thought it was Cuts. But anyway.
She only had like one loss the entire
she's been really good. And then this is just, Naja being Naja.
Nasty.
I love when the batter knows and they just turn around and walk to the dugout. They don't even complain to the umpire. They're just like, "Yep, should have swung at that." Lined in the right center field. Oh wait, Lauren. To the wall it goes. She's another one gutting it out through an injury. Got some tough players on this team.
In the home half of the third.
Put it in play.
The other way, off the glove of Edwards, and Bloodworth's throw not in time.
I believe they counted that as an error, but it was a.
To start the home half.
She just puts it in play. Oh, this.
Off the glove of Kennedy.
They don't have a good angle of that. I guess the camera wasn't rolling, but I was sitting down there on that side. It was absurd. The reaction time from Alexa Langoliers on that. You don't get to see it. Let me make sure they don't show the replay. Maybe it'll be in the cinematic recap, but okay, yeah. So you saw Naja tip that. Well, Alexa's already running to second base. She's running towards second base. Naja tips it, so it goes back towards first base. And Alexa has to stop, turn, and go make the play, and she does. It was a great defensive play. I wish that the cameras had caught it. But anybody there in person saw it because the crowd went, ooh.
As she waves and misses, Tech set the tone early with 4 runs in the home half of the first. Now 6-0 as they come to bat.
She almost had it there.
Almost.
It's okay. Freshman Bailey Lindenmuth's coming up next. Says, I'm going to end this. Coach just told me to walk him the F off. I'm going to do it. Okay, JK. Reagan's going to drive in Alexa first. And then Bailey's going to drive in, drive them both in. Look at this. Big 12 player of the week.
The superstar. This is lifted to right center.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yaboo! I mean, for a freshman to do that after your coach just told you to do it, and she's like, I got you, coach. So here's what I'm talking about. You'll just listen to, you can hear him giving a speech. There's also highlights and other things. You might see that defensive play I'm talking about in here with a better angle. So enjoy.
We're going to have to really play a high level of ball all the way.
Welcome to Lubbock, Texas, and welcome to the Big 12. It's the 13th ranked Oklahoma State Cowgirls and number 15 Texas Tech. Payoff pitch. Tony around third. Texas Tech strikes first. Langoliers is in. Strike 3. And she waves and perhaps send the Red Raiders into the Big 12 win column first.
Bet.
Superstar.
Bet.
This is lifted to right center field. And goodbye. Linda Booth. A 2-run blast. The Red Raiders stay red hot.
We got another big game and it starts at 0-0.
All red, the other way. Home in time. And it gets away from Hathoot. Field is down for a base hit. Holloman plays it on a hop. The throw to third in time. Outside corner. Good night. And Texas Tech sweeps the doubleheader from number 13 Oklahoma State.
All right. Yeah, that's just some huge highlights there. And then, yeah, as you said, we'll take on Baylor this upcoming weekend. DFW Red Raiders, Austin area Red Raiders, Central Texas Red Raiders. Y'all be there. I'm probably going to try to be there. It's going to be a huge game. Just some things on Baylor that you should know. As far as batting goes, Shaylin Govan, she has a 388 batting average and 5 home runs on the year. Brooklyn Carter, she has 310 batting average and looks like 1 home run on the year. And then in third is 254 batting average from Carrington Dawson, who also has, it looks like, 1 home run on the year. And then we'll probably go up against some of their pitchers, except Baylor. Baylor's kind of been struggling this year. They were projected to do well in the Big 12. They're pre-ranked in the top 25, but now they're 12-13 and 1-2, losing to Kansas. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. It looks like their pitcher has like a 3.53 ERA, Lexi Warnke. So if we can get hit, other one has 3.96. I'm not seeing no offense to Baylor, I'm not seeing anything impressive from their pitching over here as far as earned runs allowed. So your bats get hot, you could probably put them to rest. And we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, they have like Orm, I think is her name, their pitcher, that's supposed to be their ace. I just don't think she's been herself yet this year. So there's always that chance that she figures it out because she was good for them last
Hopefully
year.
not against us.
I think she might have been injured last year. So it might just be coming back from injury and trying to figure it out. But at some point, she's been really good. It all runs together. So I think that's kind of what they're dealing with is players that they thought were going to be doing something for them, just haven't quite figured it out yet. But it only takes 1 or 2 games. We've seen that. We've had moments like that, and then we started to figure it out. So I'm sure that's kind of what they're telling themselves is they're just hoping to get it going. But yeah, go to the game if you're in Waco or near Waco. It sounds like Tyler is going to drive to check it out. Go there. It'll be fun. I know a lot of Texas Tech fans live in the area. We've already been to Austin. We've already been to College Station. So this is kind of your last. TCU doesn't have a softball team. So we don't travel to Houston this year. I believe Houston comes to us, right? So yeah, this is kind of your last chance to see them if you aren't going to travel to Lubbock, which you should obviously do. But go to Waco, catch them. If Naja's healthy, then that will be Friday night. Everybody asks that every week. You should go watch them no matter what, but I get it. She's the number 1 player. That's fair. If you could only choose one game, again, if she's healthy, she would typically be the Friday starter. That's how it would go. And then we'll see you from there, how it breaks down. But yeah, so that is softball. Any final thoughts before we move on to the next thing on the list?
Yeah, y'all keep on supporting this team. There's a lot of haters out there that are not Red Raider fans. There's some Red Raider fans that are haters, but y'all just this is the winning team in Lubbock.
Do they just hate fun? Why would Texas Tech? Whatever. Those are just haters of everybody. They're not real. Those aren't real.
They
Texas
don't know
Tech
what they're
fans.
talking about.
They're just trolls.
They don't understand. They're just trolls. But yeah, y'all just rally around this team, support them, give them all the love and support. They're a fun group. Follow all them on social media. They're hilarious individuals too. They have a funny bone to them. So
great personalities.
Yes, great team.
Good team. Another team that has really fun personalities and I have enjoyed following all year despite the losing has been the Lady Raiders. And it was so nice, Tyler. We talked a little bit about it last week because they got their first win at the Big 12 tournament at that point. It was so nice to see them have a little success because they've been so close this year. And we said last week they can beat Utah. Like it would not shock. It might shock the basketball world because Utah's like they only lost like 7 games all year, whatever it was. But we had the players to beat Utah. Like it wasn't. We almost beat them in the regular season. It wouldn't be crazy. And I feel like we kind of dominated that game after the first quarter. We controlled it for the whole time. And at some point we had a pretty big lead. And then of course Utah fought back, and then we found a way to close it out. But was really proud of them. We can pull up the box score to give people their shine for what they did, who led us. Bailey Maupin, of course, that was the Bailey Maupin game against Utah. She had 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. I mean, she was eking herself up there on a triple-double. And we also got 12 points from Jazz Shavers, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. You had Danae Fritz have another good game, 12 points, 6 rebounds. And then you just had a lot of other people contribute down the line. In this, Logan Johnson had 7, Jalen had 6, 8 from Sarah, so on and so forth. So another one of those games was just a true team effort. Really proud of them. Looked good, even on tired legs. They did the damn thing. Do you have any other thoughts on Utah before we jump ahead to the Oklahoma State game?
Yeah, no, I thought that this was, like you said, it was probably one of our most complete games of the season against a really talented Utah team. I appreciated the fight that we were able to carry over and really just kind of set Utah um, off balance. So, again, really huge things that we saw from Bailey, from um, Jazzy, Danae, all of the above. Really love to see that in that game and that we were able to control it because, we've been talking about how, we want to play four-quarter basketball all season, and this is finally one of the games where I thought we played a full 4 quarters of basketball. And yeah, Utah tried to climb back in, but like it wasn't anything that made me like start to get really antsy or get my heart rate up. Like I just felt really more confident in this game just by how we were running our offense, how we were playing on defense, holding them down. Refs were giving them a lot of, and ones that after like 2 business days after they shot the shot, and then they're like, "Oh, that's a foul," and we still were able to come back from that. So
I have so many questions about the officiating in the Big 12 tournament because it's even worse in the Oklahoma State game. Were they just terrified to give the lower seed like any calls? Like I've never seen such a okay, that's a lie. I've seen some pretty egregious officiating in my day, but it was the Utah game was tough. But there was some stuff in the Oklahoma State game that was just outrageous. So, yeah, I don't know if we have anything else to say, but you said you weren't ever concerned. I mean, we outscored Utah in the fourth quarter. Like to have a lead and then still outscore Utah in the fourth quarter says what we put our foot on their throat, said, no. We have you. We're going to win this game. There was a moment in that game where I was like, oh, this game's a wrap. This game is a wrap. I wish I should have found the clip, guys. I should have gotten it for you because if you didn't see it, you missed out. But Bailey like stuffs the Neepkins girl, first team all Big 12 player. They only put 5 people on that team. She was one first team all, and she's tall. And Bailey's sitting at the rim. Bailey says no, and like stuffs her so much she falls over to the point that Bailey has to step over her, steps over her, dribbles up, weaves through people, finds Danae in the corner for a 3. Danae shoots it, and oh god, maybe I'll go and find this clip for you right now because there's multiple parts of this clip that I think some people noticed and this other one that people didn't notice. Bailey knew that Danae was going to make this freaking shot. Bailey is running down back on defense, hand up in the air before it even leaves Danae's hand. If you go watch that clip, it's so good. And then Danae makes it. Utah calls a timeout because they're like, oh, shit. The place is going crazy. Our fans are there. Our band was great, the Going Band. They were there. Danae tries to chest bump Coach Gerlich and then is in the huddle losing her shit. Like her and Jazz are just screaming at each other, like so much so that Bailey walks up after. And I think Bailey was like, what's going on here for a second, like trying to calm them down. But they were just hype. And everyone's like screaming at each other. They were so hype. I haven't seen them that hype all year. And that's what Danae can bring to this team. She just is that person. But Bailey like putting a hand up, thinking she was going to score, knowing she was going to make it. And then all of that, trying to chest bump your coach. I was like, oh. That was like in the third quarter. It gave us a 13-point lead. I was like, it's a wrap. Like Utah trying to make a little bit of a run, but I was like, a team is locked in, like bought in energy. Like you don't see that without that moment. They were having a time, and it was exciting. It was fun to watch, but it's also a little bit like, damn, like that's what we could have been. That's what was in this team. And there's a chance we'll talk about it in a minute. Maybe the season's not over. They're holding out hope. They're still practicing. Looking for a postseason opportunity, but I feel like that whole moment was what we thought they were going to be this year. Defense to offense to hype to swagger to all that stuff we saw in that one clip, and I was like, damn, that was a fun time. So that's what I remember about that game. There was also a viral clip that came from the next game. I think Danae was involved in it as well, actually, but just the whole Bailey's part of it and all of it was fun. So shout out them. Good game. If you have any thoughts, go for it.
Yeah, like I said, great game, and it does make you wonder, like, if we would have had all these pieces together and would have like figured it out earlier in the season, what could have been. But we knew we could beat Utah. We hung with them close at home, and it was just great to see. Like I said last week or 2 weeks ago, end the season on a somewhat of a good note, end the season on a good winning streak if you can, end it on something great, because that month of February we're just going to ignore it because that was the worst month of my life.
Never heard of it.
And then March, we were undefeated in March up until that Oklahoma State game, and this team just had something about them. They had that aggressiveness, that swagger. Like it was just a whole different team. It's just insane. But huge win against Utah. I think it was also, you said, our first quadrant 1 win potentially. They were number 22 in the net, so I think that would be quad 1. So again, we finally got our signature quad 1 win that we usually get, and Utah was receiving votes at the time when we beat them. So good stuff.
Okay, I went ahead and downloaded this because I just described the play, and I was like, if you didn't see it for some reason, and you're watching our show, you got to be able to see this in person, or in person, in the highlight form if you didn't see this highlight, because it was hype. It was everything this team was capable of all year, and it was good to see them have that kind of moment and that kind of fun. Watch Bailey.
And it's stolen away.
Just stonewalled a Big 12 first-team player, and then she's stepped over her.
Hey.
Brings it up the floor.
Fortunate she didn't get called for a foul as she reached up to grab Maupin.
Look at Bailey. That ball ain't even left Danae's hand. She was already turning. Hand up in there, guns up. She knew that was in. The ball is like halfway to the rim right now. Bailey ain't even looking. Bailey is not even looking. She's like, I don't need an offensive rebound coach. Danae's got this. She's on fire this game. We all know this is going in. I don't think people noticed that part of the play because I didn't notice it until I saw the highlights after the game. And no one's been talking about it. So, man, that's the swagger. We know who was in this team. We knew, especially those two that would feed off each other in that way. That was cool. And then the rest of this, just wait for it.
She stepped over the top.
You don't get to see it. You don't get to see the moment where she chest bumped Gerlich. You saw it in another angle, but they talk about it. And then her and Jazz just lose it in the huddle. I loved it. They probably don't even remember it. Like, if you asked Danae about this moment, like, if you asked her in the post game, she'd be like, yeah, I don't remember that. Like, the blacked out cold. Like, both of them are blacked out in this moment. It's funny. Adley. And Bailey's like, hold up. Calm down.
Women on the sideline.
We got a game to play here, guys. Oh, it's
so
funny. I'll watch it one more time for good measure without me pausing. Watch it all together.
It's stolen away. And Neepkins maybe unfortunate she didn't get called for a foul as she reached up to grab Maupin as she stepped over the top. Fritz from the corner. Did Krista Gerlich just chest bump Danae Fritz?
Jazz and Danae.
Women on the sideline for Texas Tech.
Man. That was good to see. So it's both like, damn, like we could have been having moments like that all year, but I'm glad they at least got there then. That's what they've been capable of. And we'll see if we get to see that again this year, or if it's a down the line thing. But every time we've told y'all this was in this team, 10 toes was behind these players. I knew that they had this in them like that. I'm not going to front and pretend like a player's good when they're not, but anybody that actually watched this team knew that a lot of these players had this in them, and it was good to see the right buttons being pushed in different ways, both from a staff and a player perspective, and they absolutely brought it in that game, and it carried over into Oklahoma State, where they were dead. You could see it. They were tired because we're a defensive team. We put in a lot of effort. They were tired, but they gutted it out, and there were points where we kind of almost looked like we were about to run away with that game. Well, we were controlling that game. We led at halftime. We led going into the fourth quarter and just couldn't quite finish it off. The refs were absolutely insane. They sent Staley Hurd to the line like 45 times. That's an exaggeration. What was it actually? 17 times?
20 times, and she made 17 of them.
20 times. One player. It's not. She's really good at drawing fouls. Give her credit, but she's really good at drawing fouls, and the refs need to learn how to not do that. She's shoving our players all over the place. I have a lot of respect for Staley Hurd. I don't want this to come off the right. She's a great player. Would love to have her on my own team and be able to root for her. A great basketball player. She knows what she's doing, and she's getting away with it. She's shoving them. She's using her physicality because they're not calling it. So, yeah, keep doing it if they're not going to call it. There was a play where she shoved Bailey 4 times on one play, and then the refs were like, oh, we got to call something. So then they called them on Bailey, and I was like, what? And the broadcast, and there was that moment at the end of the game where we back-to-back plays had a tie ball they didn't call, and then the very next play we had a tie ball again. They didn't call that. Then there was a scrum, and the ball's free, and they let Oklahoma State have a timeout. Anyway, luckily, then they did call an offensive foul on Staley right after that. So we ended up getting the ball out of that. Have a chance to win it. Jazz shoots a shot, bounces around the rim, goes out. we get another stop or something. They miss a free throw, I think, so we have one more chance, but it's like a half-court heave kind of 3-point opportunity, and we end up losing by 3, which might be what we lost to them by in Lubbock as well. Yep. So as a top 25 team, a team that could very well go on a run in the postseason, we'll see how they do, but they have good talent, well coached, and all those things. And in a lot of that game, we look like the more aggressive team, the better team in a lot of ways. We just look tired. I mean, you could see how tired they were, but you could also see how much they wanted it. A lot of respect. We had people in our comments during that. I was like literally in the process of unpacking, so I wish I could have watched it more closely, but I had it up while I was unpacking stuff, and people are commenting, and they're like, I just can't believe this team is playing so hard. Like, why are they doing that? And I was like, they're like, when people ask that, just know that I'm judging you because that tells me in life you quit at things if hard things are happening. They're doing it because they're a high character team, and yeah, hard shit happens, but this team is full of high character individuals. They want to play hard for their coaching staff, and they want to play hard for themselves, and that's what you saw. So like the answer is very simple to me, is they're just a high character group. And maybe it's because we're used to watching some teams in the past, both men's side, other sports. We've been through it as Texas Tech fans where you felt like teams did quit. But when you have a group of people that are that high character, they're not going to quit. Like they're just not. They're not wired that way. So I've respected about outside of one game, and we had to do a whole episode about it after the West Virginia game. They have not had a problem with fight this whole year. So a lot of respect for this team. They played hard for themselves and their staff and each other. And I believe they're still practicing with hopes that they'll get a postseason bid of some kind. Do you have any other thoughts on this game? We can give shout outs to people. I think Danae Fritz had a ridiculous block followed by a 3 in this game. I know that was the highlight. The NCAA account was pumping out. Everybody, Logan Johnson had a career high, I believe, in this game. So give Logan the shine. She was hooping. They couldn't stop her. I think she led us in scoring. Different people. Everybody looked tired, but they were gutting it out. And then we can talk about what's ahead. But if you have any thoughts, go for it.
No. I think that this was, yeah, you could tell that we were tired, but I would also say that you could also be like, you couldn't tell which team at certain points in the game
absolutely
played their third game in 3 days. Like, it just was insane at just how well in 3 days we were able to just regroup, put together, and almost take it away. And also with in agreement with what you said, like that is ridiculous that Staley Hurd gets to the line 20 times, half of her points. She ties her career high that she had against us last time, but this time half of those were from the free throw line. It's just unacceptable. It's uncalled for. I'm with Big Cat. Let's investigate the Big 12 officials.
Shut up, Big Cat.
Especially with that jump ball, all the things. Like it was just ridiculous because it's like you don't want them.
I was unpacking kitchen stuff when that happened. I'm not even joking you. I broke a damned plate. I was so mad. Not that I didn't throw it, but I just dropped it back in the box and it cracked because I was like, you have got to be effing kidding me is what I yelled. And I had family. They're like, what is Shelby? Calm down. I'm like, no, this is absurd because we were playing so hard. We were not giving up. Like you had every reason to get up and they were going for the steal. They weren't trying to foul. They were going for all these things and they got the moments. They did the thing and the refs failed them. Luckily, it ends up working out where we had a chance and then we didn't take advantage of the chance. So we got one, but it took us 3 times to get there because the refs are effing idiots and they were afraid of the moment. That's what it was. They didn't want to let a 14 seed get to the semifinals, which, by the way, would have been the lowest seed ever in Big 12 history to make it to the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament. We had already made it to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2019 in this moment, first time since 2003 that this program had won 2 games at the Big 12 tournament. They were doing some big stuff and they had a chance to make Big 12 history, not just Texas Tech. A little bit of Texas Tech, I guess, recent history is what they did. But the rest were like, nah, we're not going to be the team. We're not going to be the people that send Texas Tech to this. It was insane. I don't know what they were. They just weren't ready for the moment. But officiating's been bad all year. But you would have hoped they sent the best. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're back. Apparently, your Mac heard me talking shit about his refs and shut down my computer or something. But they were bad. Need to be better. Let's do better. I figured that the best refs would be sent to Kansas City, and I'm afraid they actually were. I don't know. Maybe they were tired. So I don't blame games on refs. Again, we had our chance to make the shot, but there was just like 20 free throws, and it was tough. Anyway, if you don't put yourself in that position, if you play better in the regular season, You're not playing your third game in 3 days. You don't have to deal with that. You're a higher seed, and all that stuff's going your way, hopefully. So that just is what it is. But they fought like hell. They had a chance to do something special. Fell just short, lose that game. And now what's ahead? A lot of question marks around this program. We get that. Again, if things happen, we'll talk about it. It's not our place to speculate on stuff. But what I do know is they are practicing and they're hoping to get some sort of postseason bid, or they're at least waiting to see if they do. And the WBIT is the one that is below the NCAA, and it's funded, and it's a really cool experience, actually. And if you make it to the Final Four, you go to Indianapolis, which is always fun to play in a basketball city like that. So I say if they get it, do it, absolutely. If the players want to keep playing, let them keep playing. There's also the WNIT. I don't know if we would do that or not because you have to pay for that. But if we don't host, then you don't really have to pay. So maybe we'll just travel and be a visiting team. I don't know what their plans are. But they probably would at least get a bid into that. The WBIT, I think, is the one they probably want. We'll see. That selection show is on Sunday, so they'll know more then. But again, I say let them do it. To me, it's no different than we sit there and celebrate all these 6-6, 7-5 football teams making bowl games every year and treating it like it's some big thing. It's literally no different than that. It's an excuse to practice, excuse for the core that's going to be returning and all that to get more time together. And also, they work their asses off for the last 8 months getting ready for the season. If they want to play basketball, let them play basketball. Last year's team was so run down because of the injuries. They turned down all the bids like that. So I know people want to be the NCAAs. I get it. We can have that conversation till we're dead. It's not the same thing. Shouldn't be treated the same way. But again, it's to me, it's just no different than if a 6-6 team gets to go to a bowl game and have an excuse to practice for 3 more weeks. If we want to do that, go for it. Other things on the horizon, obviously, March 25th, Leah Chavez is going to be making her announcement. We're in her top 3 or 4, depending on where you look. That whole thing's been kind of a wild journey to follow. Obviously, she's an amazing talent. Anyone in Lubbock knows that. She's just won state for Monterey, so shout out her. Congrats to her. But she did just set her date. She will be deciding on March 25th, so we'll follow that and find out along with you guys what she does there. Also, we'll follow transfer portal and all the madness and all the things that we do all the time on the show as we get there. It's a few weeks away. There's certainly people that are entering now because of coaching changes and different things that a couple we've been linked to already, but the big part of that's down the line. So that's kind of what's ahead as far as coverage on this team. Is we'll see on Sunday if they get selected for anything, if they choose to play and continue the season. And if they don't, then the offseason officially starts, and that's kind of where we're at. So respect the team for fighting. Wish we had seen it come together a little bit sooner for this team, and I'm not going to sit here and nitpick the reasons why and all that. We've talked about it all season long, so y'all have seen it. Everybody that watches the team knows. So we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, and on a more positive side of things, I do want to give a huge shout out to Lady Raider Nation, our fan base. Absolutely, you had every reason after February to just not show up, or even in the midst of February to not show up or do anything, and y'all still showed up. Guys, we were number 4 overall in Big 12 attendance, which is absolutely insane because you would think that teams that could be a 2 seed in the tournament just won the Big 12 championship, made it to the Big 12 championship. All these schools that have smaller arenas can fit all these people. They were nowhere even near the top 5, top 6, top 7 of that, and yet we still were in there. Like, we were one of the only schools. Us in Arizona were the only schools that probably won't, well, that will not get an NCAA tournament bid. Arizona, we don't know about, but we're the only 2 that did not, that are ranked in the top 5 in attendance. So that's huge to y'all. And then also student-wise, shout out to students, part of the Scarlet Stampede, all the things. I think this was one of the best student attendances we've had in a very long time since pre-COVID with that. We did a lot of promotions this year, and thank y'all for still showing out, seeing what this team is about, seeing this team's fight. I think it's just worth bringing up because this team did battle a lot of adversity. Y'all were still there. Y'all still supported them. We're all Red Raiders at the end of the day. We all want to see us succeed, and I just think that that's huge that in the midst of all of it, we're outdoing in attendance some of these Big 12 championship contenders. And as a matter of fact, all 4 schools were not really in the running for the Big 12 championship other than K-State. So this year. So that just shows that women's basketball is a big thing here in Lubbock, and that we have many opportunities beginning on March 25th to potentially be great.
Yeah. Either way it goes, because they'll find a way to shake things up either way. But yeah, shout out them. I also saw a lot of support for the team on social media during the run of the Big 12, which from people I hadn't even seen tweeting about them all year. So it just goes to show, like, Texas Tech, if you show them that fight, which again, this team was fighting, but some people need to see the wins for them to turn the TV on and be like, oh, they really are fighting. Now I see what y'all are talking about. Like, that hasn't been the thing. So yeah, people are there to support them, the ones that are real, the ones that care. There's a lot of care for this team. People express it in different ways, but a lot of people care about this program and this team, and us two are right up there on the list. I promise you, not many people are gonna support this team more than we are and fight with them. So we'll see if it continues. If it does, we'll obviously cover any postseason tournaments they play in. I'm not even joking. If they play the way they played in the Big 12, they could go on a run in the WBIT. They showed they can play with anybody. So if they can find a way to bottle that, that will be the question. But absolutely they could. So we'll see, and we'll cover that. But a team that absolutely is headed for the NCAAs and is playing in the Big 12 tournament tomorrow is the men's basketball team. I mean, they're basically playing to see if they're going to be a 2 or a 3 seed. It's completely different circumstances here. It's been a really fun season. People are like dark horse Final Four candidate. I don't even know if you can consider it as a dark horse at this point. March Madness is madness for a reason. You don't know what's going to happen. It is impossible to predict. You have to win like 5, 6, whatever, 7, 8, I don't know, a lot of games in a row. I'm not even going to go into predictions, but I do know that this team is very good when they're healthy, and they're very hard to stop when we're all hitting shots, because offensively we're really challenging to guard. When you get Chance going, when you have Christian Anderson, oh my goodness, Christian Anderson is not 19 or 18 years old. I just don't believe it. Show me the birth certificate. I don't understand. He just gets better every game, it feels like, and you have that to pair with all the veterans in D5 and Kerwin Walton, who's coming on, and I mean, everybody. Toppin was the player of the freaking year in the conference, and we're just now mentioning him. Like this is what this team is, like rightfully so. Sorry, West Virginia fans. I know y'all were delusional, but JT Toppin should have been the player of the year, and he got it for good reason. I think he was an All-American, named an All-American today. Potentially will be a unanimous All-American as more awards come out over the coming weeks or coming days. So yeah, this team is stupid talented. Like, just where are you sitting at as they head into Kansas City? We don't know their opponent. I don't think so. I'll look it up while you're talking. That game might be over now, but they're playing Baylor or Kansas State, who are playing right now, I think.
Yeah, I'm super, super hyped for this men's team. They have done great all season. Again, we talk about teams that battle adversity. Guys, y'all were losing your minds when we lost to St. Joseph's and UCF, and y'all were like, it's going to be the end of the world. And now look, Grant was like, hold up. I got y'all. Like, don't worry. We're going to get this all figured out. And sure enough, we got figured out. Exactly. Got to let the cake bake. We've literally finished second overall in the entire Big 12, which is huge. We took one off of Houston, gave them their only conference loss, and now we see how we're going to do in this Big 12
without
tournament.
The conference player of the year in that game.
Yes, without that. And we even hung in with them close without our two best players, or one of our two best players in that game. Yeah, pretty much everybody. We were shorthanded.
Six people.
Yes, just huge things that we're seeing from this team. And as a matter of fact, if y'all want to go hang out with the team and y'all want to see if we're going to land that 2 or 3 seed, whatever, still we're celebrating, we're actually going to be doing a Selection Sunday event at the USA. Y'all be there. It's at 4 o'clock. They'll have concessions open. The first 100 fans are going to receive a March Madness t-shirt that I think Red Raider Outfitter made. It's a cool shirt. I have it. Get that for free. And then they're also doing post-game autographs with the team as well. And I'm just saying, that JT Toppin, Christian Anderson, D5, Chance, whatever, one of those autographs, they may be worth like millions of dollars one day when they go on to their pro careers. So I'm just saying, y'all get that. Y'all be the first ones to be like, oh, look, I have this guy's signature on the thing. And yeah, get to celebrate with them. It's going to be a fun event on Sunday.
Yeah, you definitely go to those. Those are always fun to be at selection shows. I got to go to a few. I don't know if I'll make it to that. Maybe I'll pop over, but back when I was in school, the women's team was the team when I was in school that was making the tournament. So I went to some of their selection shows. But yeah, so yeah, do that. I'm really excited. I just pulled it up. Baylor is beating Kansas State 58-46 right now with about 8 minutes left in the second quarter. By the time you see this show, by the time it's posted, it's going to be over. So y'all going to know who we're playing. We're playing one of those two teams tomorrow at, did you already say what time? It's not, can't read, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, because I guess ESPN just hates to put good content on their channels. It's the Big 12 tournament. But anyway, well, hopefully that means there's women's basketball on ESPN instead. That's what's happening. I'm kidding. There's no women's basketball being played right now, I don't think. Oh, no, it probably is. I bet there's been mid-major championship games on. It's that time of week.
Probably.
Madness is here. It's all of that. So, yeah, shout out, guys. Keep doing the damn thing. I cannot wait to watch. Y'all, people, if you know me and you've been watching that, you know how much I am obsessed with that shirt that Tyler's wearing. I made that shirt. That's how much I'm obsessed with March Madness. Like, it's a holiday to me. I'm going to be posted up in front of my TV, 1,800 games on, especially when it gets to that crossover, the second round of the men's tournament and it's the first round of the women's tournament. And then there's like 48 games on or something. Easy. I mean, I am in heaven.
I love it. Yeah.
Heaven. So if you follow me on Twitter, just get ready for chaotic posting. I don't know if I'll do as much as I did last year. I probably will. I don't know. I can't help myself. I just post about any game I'm watching, and it'll be like 5 at a time. So I'm so excited for March Madness, for especially to have a team that could win it all this year. We felt really good about last year's team, but I don't think anyone was like, yeah, we're winning it all. We just thought we'd go on maybe a longer run than we did. But of that note, basketball gods, Yoda, everybody that's listening, please keep all guys healthy, because D5 got hurt at the Big 12 tournament last year, and that kind of derailed our March Madness. I know we can't control it. They can't be thinking like that. They're going to play for a championship as they should. You win a championship, you probably lock in a 2 seed, which is hype. I don't know if it matters exactly. I guess you get a little bit easier path. You're going to end up playing the 3 seed anyway at some point, but that's beside the point. We made the Final Four as a 3 seed years ago, so I'm not worried about it. But we'll see what they do. Any other thoughts on men's basketball before we wrap this up with everything else going on in Texas Tech sports?
I'm just hoping for, we bring some hardware back to Lubbock. We cut down some nets. Even if that's even the Big 12 tournament championship, I don't care. Let's just keep building the trophy case and hanging the banners and all the things. Special season.
Banners. Let's go. Yeah, special group of people. I'm going to miss some of these seniors so much. So I'm enjoying every minute we get to watch them play. I really love this group. They just embody Texas Tech so much. You never know what you're going to get when people get here. Sometimes you have really good basketball players, and that's great. They win a lot of games, but it's really cool when they're really good basketball players, but really good people as well, and that really kind of have that West Texas toughness to them. So that's what this team is. And so enjoy it. Go crazy. Brag to your friends. Enjoy the roller coaster of it, y'all. No matter how it ends. If it ends before y'all want it to, doesn't mean it hasn't been an awesome season. So don't get too low about it. They've already done some cool stuff. So moving on to baseball, which has been pretty low, unfortunately. Tyler, killing me. I hate it for them, man. They've worked their asses off, and then this happens, but that's sports. And so they just got to buck up and keep going out there, especially in a sport like baseball where they play so many games. They just got to get up, put their work in, and keep showing up and hoping it comes together. They played a really hard schedule. They haven't had a lot of gimme games this year. I don't know if they've had any gimme games. The ones that they've won the game, I don't even know who they played. I think everybody they played has been a legitimate could make the tournament team. And that's why it's a little different than last year, where at this point we were beating up on people, and then we got to conference and we kind of found out, oh, we're not that good. Now we're finding that out now. And so my only hope is they can fix it. I'm not telling you that they're gonna fix it. I'm just saying at least they're finding out March 12th instead of May 1st or whatever it is, and in the middle of Big 12 play and realize you don't have the goods. They can try to move some things around. Keep plugging away, and we'll see. We'll keep following them. It'd be pretty cool, though, to turn it around. Go on a historic run. Underdog, no pressure. Everybody's giving up on you. We're not giving up on you. We would never. We're here following you And then sidebar, Mahomes gave them some jerseys, so maybe that's all they need. Sometimes we talked about that burn the bats thing. Maybe baseball needs to burn the bats. That is a baseball tradition. Maybe our baseball team literally, actually the bats aren't the problem though. They need to burn the gloves. Pitching gloves or something. I don't know what the pitching version of that is. So that's where they're at. But Patrick Mahomes, it was announced today that has some Mahomes brand jerseys for the baseball team. And they're pretty snazzy. They're in stores now, I assume locally around Lubbock. And they're going to wear them on the 21st or something like that of March. Coming up here soon, they're going to wear them in a game. And I just know how baseball players are. If they win that game, they're just going to wear them the rest of the season until they lose. That's what's going to happen. So I hope they win and they just wear the same jersey and the poor equipment manager has to wash it over and over again. Because if that's what needs to happen to spark a run, shout out Mahomes. Look good, play good. Maybe that's all they need is a little bit of a change. I'm trying here, guys. I'm trying.
For sure. I mean, we have a big opportunity this weekend. Houston, they're not necessarily known for baseball, so if you can't take Houston Red Raiders, if you're not going to take Highway 6 up to Waco to watch softball, our baseball team is going to be there locally in Houston, so they're going to be playing Houston Friday and Saturday at 6:30 and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. So maybe we'll start off conference play at least 2-1, 3-0, whatever it may be. So you have opportunity to see your Red Raiders, so go and support them. Maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to finally get through this hump. Maybe it was just a lot of punching in the mouth, and now they're going to come out on top. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. I've seen much crazier things in the sport of baseball. I'm not even lying, but it's going to take a turnaround in that bullpen for sure. So we'll see. We'll keep watching them. Someone that has had a good start to their season, and including Big 12 play, is our women's tennis team. That's number 14 in the nation now. They started Big 12 play 4-0. They swept a road trip this weekend to Utah. Not an easy place to play. The altitude, all that. Handled it well. And now we're going to turn the corner to a week where probably the next two highest teams besides when we get to Oklahoma State that you're going to play this year, and on the road in Fort Worth. So if you want to go watch some tennis, Dallas area people, we have a good tennis team. They play them. They're number 44 in the nation. Tennis ranks all the way to that's why. Don't clown on the numbers. It's an actual thing. They're number 44 in the nation. They play them on Friday at 5. And then number 20 Baylor, so that's a big one, top 25 matchup on Sunday at 1. And also our number 1 player last year, Christina Tiglier or whatever, transferred to Baylor. Just a side note.
Yeah. We beat her earlier in the year, actually, I think, in fall ball. So in doubles.
Yeah, but in singles. So I haven't paid attention to how her season's going. I wish her the best. I'm not hateful, but I don't wish her the best on Sunday. I hope we win. Get that dub, Texas Tech.
Get that dub. I think tennis is next to softball too. So if you're at the softball game, you try to peek over. If you're at the tennis game, try to peek over. Just be there. They're at the same time, unfortunately. But sometimes tennis matches go forever.
It would have been if they were at different times, and the softball team could have gone.
It would be insane.
Soccer, was it soccer that did that last year? They went to
they went to Oklahoma State for
they were like, we don't know what's happening, but they were going crazy in the stands.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the characters on this softball team, if they could go show up to that tennis match, would be insane. They'd probably get themselves kicked out because they'd be like, guys, you gotta be quiet.
Oh.
You can get hype at tennis, but it has to be at the right times. You gotta do it after the
right after a point.
You can't do it when the ball's in the air or whatever. Gotta let them focus. So, that's that. Men's tennis, I think they had a good week, right? They won a couple of matches this week, but they have a tough week this week as well. They have number 52 Utah tomorrow in Lubbock, and then Saturday they take on number 71 BYU, both in Lubbock. Go watch them. They get free Chick-fil-A. First 100 fans. Tell me I won't. I'm kidding. I'm going to let this college students do that. So go out there and get you some free Chick-fil-A for the first 100 fans on Friday at Thursday, actually. I can't read. Sorry.
Thursday
at 5 o'clock. First 100 fans get Chick-fil-A. Saturday, first 100 fans get a free t-shirt. I love that they're doing promotions for tennis. Shout out them.
Yes, they were actually at the sub today handing out cookies. I was there, the men's tennis players. So y'all be there. Y'all go support the men's tennis team. I think they had a few good wins this week over, and they played hard against Old Dominion, who was ranked, and they played them really hard. I think it came down to like the last game match, whatever you call it, single. I don't know the term, but
they're getting better.
yes,
but I
they
think
are.
they graduated some really good players last year. That was like one of the top 10 players in the country or something was on our team last year, and so they're trying to replace that this year. But it happens. Into golf. What do you have on golf?
Yeah, so golf has been off. Both of our golf teams have been off for the weekend, and now they're coming up this weekend. Women's golf competes in the Valspar Augusta Invitational in Georgia on Saturday and Sunday, and then the men will compete in the Palma Valley Invitational in California Monday and Tuesday. I was looking at the schedule, and I think there's only after these only like 2 more invites or meets left, or maybe 3 until Big 12 play. So we're inching closer to see how we'll do, especially men's golf, who's been having themselves one hell of a season. So we'll see where we end up landing on that.
Yep. All right. And I think that's all we have for y'all today. So go to all the things we just told you to go to. Watch the men's basketball team. Go out on Sunday for the selection show. It really is a good time. If you've never been to one of those, especially when you're a high-ranked team like this, they're a lot more stressful when you don't know what's going to happen because it's demoralizing when you're at those. Usually they don't open those to the public when it's close. But this one, we all know they're getting in. It's just a matter of seed line and who they're playing. And then we'll see if we'll just travel around. Maybe we'll get – I don't know who the host sites are this year. We'll talk about that next week, I guess. We know. But there's one in Texas that would be hype. We know we take it over.
Wichita might be one that we'll get in. Yeah, I think Wichita might be the closest one. Not too bad. Yeah, we can do it. We'll figure it out.
Do that, and we'll see on Lady Raiders if they're playing postseason. Softball's full go, though. So get out there in Waco. Tennis, watch them both. All the things. So that's all we got. See y'all. Wreck 'em.